morning, everybody. I'm Summer Stephan, San Diego County's District Attorney. I'm joined here by federal and local law enforcement leaders and a courageous victim that I will introduce shortly. Today, we're standing together to provide a timely warning, education, and a call to action for our community regarding a major public safety threat targeting our seniors in one of the largest consumer protection challenges facing our nation and our region, and that is elder scams. We want San Diegans across this county to understand the scope of this threat and provide strategies on protecting yourself and your family and your loved ones. Make no mistake about it, elder scams are being run by organized crime syndicates almost entirely internationally. Getting the information out is more important than ever, especially during the holidays when we see scams increase, counting on people being distracted and in a hurry. As part of our strategy, we've launched a large-scale outreach campaign aimed at educating seniors, their loved ones, caregivers, banks, health places, and the public about scams targeting the elderly that are most prevalent in our region. No one is immune to the scammers. The scams are getting more sophisticated. Whether it's your computer's been hacked, your grandchild is in trouble with an AI-generated voice that sounds just like your grandchild, your investment in cryptocurrency is going to pay off big time, or the IRS is after you and there's some kind of government impersonation. These are happening every day to our community members. The dollar losses to seniors in San Diego County from various online and phone scams targeting the elderly continue to increase. In the last year, that amount reached $149 million just in San Diego County alone. We've had enough of criminals aggressively targeting some of our most vulnerable and respected and ones that need to be cared for, seniors in our community. They're bilking them out of their life savings and their cushion of comfort to put food, to have shelter, to have dignity that they save for. We want to educate our seniors and their families about how to recognize these scams and what specific actions to take if they suspect been targeted. Scams against older adults have grown, and AI is only going to bring more challenges that we are preparing for in our region. This campaign is anchored in the actual cases that we learn about through the Elder Justice Task Force. It's anchored in a simple message of stop, hang up, tell someone. Why this message of stop, hang up, and tell someone? It's because the number one tool that scammers use is creating an urgency, creating an atmosphere that the victim has to act now. And that's why we have the stop. Also, what they work on is the idea that you have to stay online or something bad is going to happen. You have to stay on your phone, and thus the message of hanging up. And the last trick that they use is one to create a need for secrecy, for you to not share this information. And that's why we say tell someone and report it. This simple, repeatable call to action provides clarity and reduces hesitation when a senior or caregiver encounters a suspicious request. During this campaign, the combined media efforts are already reaching close to 3.5 million unique individuals across the county, with different messages that describe the different types of top scams that we're seeing. Already the ads have generated nearly 26 million impressions, just over halfway through the campaign. It's also in the Spanish language has produced 4 million impressions. This wide reach ensures the seniors, caregivers, and families receive repeated exposure to the prevention message in English, Spanish, Tagalog, and Vietnamese through a combination of traditional digital and community-based channels. The campaign kicked off in September and will run through the holidays. And our goal is to prevent someone from becoming a victim in the first place. But if unfortunately they still become a victim, then we want them to know to report immediately so that these valiant fighters behind me will go to bat to try to recover their money. Our collaborative effort with law enforcement who are standing here today is also reaping prosecution and enforcement benefits. And you're going to hear about some great wins that we've had against the bad guys. The county's Elder Justice Task Force was formed in 2020. It is a first of its kind in the nation, and it is producing results because of the unique way that we come together. It's led by the FBI and includes the U.S. Attorney, prosecutors, and the district attorney's specialized elder abuse team. Investigators, including from the Sheriff's Department that has invested much into this task force, San Diego Police, and other agencies, all sharing information and working together to help victims and to prevent crime and to bring those scammers to account. Since its inception, the Elder Justice Task Force has identified more than 4,600 victims at the tune of over $325 million. Of course, we believe the numbers are much higher because this crime goes underreported. And it's underreported because our seniors sometimes feel ashamed. They feel that they've been tricked, and they're sometimes concerned even about sharing that with their family because they don't want their financial liberty to be taken away. The only people that need to be ashamed are the criminals who are bilking these good people out of their hard-earned money. And we want everyone to know that no one is immune. We've seen people with multiple degrees, patents, and other things still get scammed because the scammers are that sophisticated. Reporting is the key. Since October of 2023, the task force has built over 70 cases with losses currently being investigated of $4.5 million and more, as you will hear about. Our office, in cases that we've done, 10 cases recently, resulted in being able to recoup $274,000. That is money going back in the pocket of our victims. Like I said, the FBI is a key partner and they lead the Elder Justice Task Force. And I am grateful that FBI Special Agent in Charge Mark Dargis is here and is committed to continue to grow the Elder Justice Task Force. Mark?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, District Attorney Steffen, for the kind remarks. Good morning. Again, my name is Mark Dargis. I am the Special Agent in charge of the FBI Field Office here in San Diego. The FBI is part of the law enforcement team that you see assembled before you to combat elder fraud in all forms. Our seniors are being targeted at an unprecedented rate with no end in sight, and the lengths that scammers will go to steal money is quite extensive. Criminals are preying on elder Americans and coercing and pressuring them to react quickly to fake crises before they have time to think through the situation. This is unacceptable. The FBI, in coordination with our partners in both the law enforcement and private sectors, and through the San Diego Elder Justice Task Force, is committed to protecting our elder community through every means at our disposal. We take every report seriously and will aggressively investigate anyone attempting to take advantage of this vulnerable population. And we will also make every effort to recover any losses that we can. While the scams may change, our advice to this population remains the same. Number one, slow down. Every scam involves a false sense of urgency. And number two, phone a friend. Lean on your family, your friends, caregivers, or your community as a sounding board to understand what you're dealing with. The urgency to act and isolation from family and friends are very bright red flags that everyone should be aware of. Our goal is to stop these scams before they happen. The San Diego Elder Justice Task Force works hard to educate and inform senior citizens about the many schemes that we see on a regular basis. We know how prevalent this crime is today. If you do happen to fall victim, we ask that you trust us enough to make a report, and we will treat it with respect and dignity to help you in any way that we can immediately. You are not alone, and there is nothing to be embarrassed about. These scammers share notes and transcripts with other criminal gangs and work to perfect their crime. Anyone can fall victim to these sophisticated schemes. The FBI and the Elder Justice Task Force work hard, but we cannot do this alone. We need help from the public and the media to spread the word about elder scams and prevention. So please talk to your families, caregivers, loved ones about the various scams that these criminals engage in. Let them know it's okay to reach out for help if they think they're being targeted. We are reminding our senior citizen population to stay vigilant, stay alert, and stay mindful. If you receive an unsolicited phone call, text, or pop-up message on your computer or your phone, don't respond. Follow the advice that the district attorney laid out. Stop, hang up, and tell someone. That one moment is sometimes all you need to help falling victim to one of these scams. You can find more about the FBI's you can find more info on the FBI's main website and at the Internet Crime Complaint Center website that complements the DA's prevention campaign materials. I encourage you to go to www.ic3.gov for more information. Again, thank you, District Attorney Steffen, and that concludes my remarks. Thank you.
When the task force investigates these cases, we work together to figure out where the case best belongs, whether it's at the district attorney's office or the U.S. Attorney's Office, where they can reach outside the state and outside the nation. And when we do that, we call upon the U.S. Attorney's Office here just across the street from us. And U.S. Attorney Adam Gordon and his team respond and are dedicated to this issue. I'm going to ask if U.S. Attorney Adam Gordon will come up and give his perspective.
Thank you, Summer. Good morning. My name is Adam Gordon. I'm the United States Attorney here in the Southern District of California. Fraud against seniors is one of the most callous crimes. It's infuriating. It doesn't just drain their bank accounts, it robs them of their dignity, their security, their peace of mind. I think everybody in this room can agree our seniors deserve better. They built our communities, they raised our families. We need to protect them as they protected us. And let me say this as plainly as I can to criminals. If you treat our seniors like ATMs, you will be federally prosecuted. Criminals who target older adults are learning this hard truth. San Diego is not open for business for scammers. Here's what we've already done. So on November 5th, we unsealed charges against more than 24 alleged members of an India and Dubai-based call center syndicate that stole more than $40 million from seniors across the country. This wasn't petty fraud. This was organized, calculated exploitation. Some defendants allegedly flew to Asia, part of what can best be described as a criminal networking junket, and then bragged about it, throwing the stolen money in Thai nightclubs like confetti. In that same case, one defendant is alleged to have driven a San Diego senior from bank to bank, pressuring him until he transferred more than $200,000. That was just one takedown. Earlier this year, in a completely other investigation, we indicted 28 alleged members of a Chinese organized crime syndicate tied to $65 million worth of a fraud scheme that targeted thousands of seniors across the nation. One of their victims was a 97-year-old widow of a Holocaust survivor who lost her life savings. Meanwhile, the scammers are driving luxury cars and displaying their ill-gotten gains. Let me make our commitment unmistakable. Whether you are in China or India or Dubai or right here in San Diego County, if you exploit our seniors, we will find you, we will prosecute you, and you will face justice here in the Southern District of California. If you don't believe me, you can ask those defendants who are currently in custody across the street waiting for their trials in federal court. So these statistics that you're hearing about, the number of victims and the amount of impact in our community, is heartbreaking, but there are signs of progress and hope. Since 2024, our office and the FBI, working closely with our state and local partners, have launched a data-driven effort that has resulted in more than 80 federal seizure warrants to claw back stolen money. We've already recovered $11.6 million for victims. Those aren't just dollars. Those are retirements restored. Those are rent payments. That's medications that can be paid for. That's peace of mind for these victims. And because victims and families are reporting fraud earlier, we've stopped millions more from disappearing overseas. I can't emphasize that enough. There's shame associated with these crimes, as you've heard from Summer and Mark. There is no need for that shame. And the earlier that you report as a victim, the more likelihood that we can recover those funds. I want to thank Summer for bringing us together today and for her unwavering commitment to protecting seniors. I want to thank every member of the Elder Justice Task Force for their tireless work. We stand united, state, federal, local, with a single mission: to protect seniors in San Diego County. Thank you.
Thank you, U.S. Attorney Adam Gordon, for your commitment to this top priority issue. We're very fortunate in San Diego that we have an outstanding law enforcement coordination center. It's like a fusion center that is able to bring all of the data points from all the police agencies, sheriff's substations, all under one roof for us to really understand the monster that we are trying to tackle, which is elder fraud. And here to tell you more about the role of the Law Enforcement Coordination Center is Director Roy Frank.
Thank you, Summer. Shameful. That's the word that I can think of right now for those criminals that are out there. What they're doing is just absolutely shameful. Again, my name is Roy Frank. I'm the director of the San Diego Law Enforcement Coordination Center, also known as the SDLACC. About 5 years ago, the DA's office and the FBI contacted the Fusion Center and said, hey, we're putting together this Elder Justice Task Force. And the reason for that is they knew that there was a problem that we were having in San Diego and throughout the country with victimizing our elderly. It was a really easy yes for us to get involved, and what they asked for, two things. They wanted assistance with putting together a database system, some sort of a database system, so we could show that we were having issues maybe in Oceanside, La Mesa, El Cajon, and maybe those suspects are the same suspects that are victimizing those folks in San Diego. So we could bring things together. They also asked if we had analysts. And we do have analysts at the SDLACC. We have some really talented, young, experienced analysts that really understand the computer network. They understand how to bring things together. They like to look at data. and ID, trends, motives, those types of things. They like to look at potential suspects. If there's a suspect out there that they can actually share with the FBI, the DA's office, the San Diego Sheriff's Office, San Diego PD, U.S. attorneys. And what they do is they work as a deconfliction center now, and all this data comes into the SDLACC. We take a look at it, we evaluate it, we're a force multiplier with our analyst, and then we share it with those law enforcement agencies. I'm very lucky in the job that I am in. I sit on the National Fusion Center Association executive board. I'm part of the Pacific region. 2 years ago, we were able to actually present on Elder Justice Task Force at the National Fusion Center Conference, which happens each year in DC. There's about 80 fusion centers throughout the country. We were able to actually present on what we were doing here in San Diego. I bring that up, and I say that to you because other states are taking a look at what we do in San Diego and the partnership that we have with all the law enforcement agencies here. Again, shameful. That word comes up to me, and that's exactly what they thought as well. If you can bring law enforcement together, this is one way to do it, is when people commit crimes against the elderly and others like this, we all come together and we all handle the situation correctly. I've spent almost 40 years in law enforcement. There's one thing that I've learned in law enforcement is every single criminal makes a mistake. Every single one of them. You just have to identify what that mistake is. And if you can do that, quite often you can hold them accountable. I can tell you the suspects that are targeting our elderly in San Diego, they've all made the same mistake. And that mistake is they victimize elderly folks here in our region. This task force that we have right here, you heard from the U.S. Attorney, the DA's office, the FBI, we will hold you accountable. They have held them accountable and will continue to do that. Thank you.
Before I introduce our next speakers, I want to make sure to recognize the San Diego Sheriff's Department and Sheriff Kelly Martinez for her commitment to this elder scams issue and the task force. Commander Jim Emming is here today to represent the Sheriff's Department and their role in helping the victim that you're going to hear from and their professionalism in handling that case. The task force also works closely, like I said, with all our police departments. Captain Rick Aguilar from the San Diego Police Department is here also today representing Chief Scott Wall and the San Diego Police Department. From the DA's office is our lead prosecutor, Deputy District Attorney Scott Perillo, who heads up our elder abuse unit. I have to pause here to tell you that Scott Perillo is a force of nature when it comes to elder scams. And he recently testified with me to the legislature, to our Hoover Commission, on what more our state can do to protect our seniors. And he's been consulted nationally on this issue. His dedication to this topic and our seniors is unmatched. And I want to thank him from the bottom of my heart. There are two district attorney investigators who are assigned to the task force, and they're here today, Dan Leja and Nicole Mondello. And they are there at the task force working alongside all the partners, and they're here with us today. In addition, we also have want to make sure that the task force, like I said, is led by the FBI, and SAC Dargis has assigned the best of the best, Mike Rod, who leads the task force, alongside Courtney McGuire, the FBI special agent in charge at the task force, who's here with us. And next, I want to introduce an important partner in this fight, and that is our San Diego County's Aging and Independence Services. This is an outstanding agency within the county that helps seniors with every aspect, and Acting Director Allison Boyer is here today. They're actually embedded within the task force, which is a unique way to San Diego of leveraging all the power of our partners. Allison Boyer.
Thank you, District Attorney Stephan. Representing the county's Aging and Independent Services, I want to join with others here today in thanking your office for being a strong leader and a longtime partner. Elder abuse takes many forms: physical, emotional, and even financial. The county's Adult Protective Services Office has received over 41,000 reports of abuse since November 2024. 30% of those reports, about 13,000, involve scams of financial exploitation targeting older adults. Older adults can be easier prey because of factors like social isolation, cognitive decline, or simply because they tend to be more trusting. Many also have financial stability, savings, pensions, and home equity that makes them an attractive target. Sadly, the fear of losing their independence keeps some victims from coming forward. Thanks to the strong collaboration with your office, local law enforcement, and federal partners, we've been able to intervene and even prevent harm through liaisons dedicated to improving outcomes. County teams can often provide a bridge between an older adult victim, law enforcement, and other partners. We strive to help older adults who have been victimized recover and learn ways to prevent it from happening again. For older adults, we say this: independently verify requests for funds of personal information, limit sharing personal information, and reach out to someone you trust. Staying socially connected and informed is one of the best defenses. If something doesn't feel right, report it. Help is available, and it's not new. As previously mentioned, our intense collaboration with the district attorney and law enforcement launched in 2020 as the first in the United States. Since then, our team has spoken before the U.S. Senate and participated in national conferences to highlight successful strategies. Other jurisdictions across the country are hoping to replicate this partnership. We have successful stories, and I want to take a moment to just share one. An elderly father who cares for his disabled adult child was contacted on social media by someone pretending to be a famous actress and whom he believed he'd met years earlier. Over several months and under pressure from multiple scammers, he was convinced to send large sums of money via wire transfer, Bitcoin, and gift cards to support what he believed was an investment project that would ultimately allow him and his daughter to live comfortably. After the task force intervention and many discussions, the client recognized that his actions were a part of a major scam, and he stopped sending further resources. We must continue to protect the dignity, safety, and independence of older adults. Everyone has a role to play, whether it's checking in on a neighbor, recognizing the signs of abuse, or simply having a conversation about scams. If you suspect something isn't right, don't hesitate to contact our Aging and Independent Services call center at 1-800-339-4661. They're here to help. Together we can prevent abuse and stop these scams before they do lasting harm. Thank you.
Thank you, Allison, for that. Finally, I want to recognize and introduce one of our courageous victims, Chris Heisey. And I've gotten to know Chris Heisey this morning a little bit more and learned that not only is he courageous by being here today because he wants to help other seniors avoid being scammed, but he also cares about, with his wife, for senior dogs, and they support helping senior dogs have a home. So it just makes him extra special and an extra hero in our community. Chris?
Thank you very much. Good morning. My name is Chris Heisey. In May of last year, on my birthday no less, my wife and I were victims of internet fraud. I received a pop-up message from Microsoft that said my computer had been compromised. I called the number provided in hopes of getting everything straightened out. Instead, I was told our finances were in jeopardy and was transferred to who we believed to be a fraud investigator for Chase Bank. Over the course of the next 2 days, we handed over $35,000 to a courier we were told would deposit the money into a Federal Trade Commission locker for safekeeping. Our money would be returned once their investigation was completed. Of course, our money was gone. We felt like we were being scammed the whole time, but waited to call our bank and financial advisor to verify. These criminals were so believable, well rehearsed, and polished. Thankfully, I took a photo of the courier and his vehicle when he picked up the money, which was critical to the apprehension of the culprit. I cannot thank the Sheriff's Department and the District Attorney's Office enough for all their help. Without the Elder Justice Task Force, we would not have half our money returned. That's why this outreach campaign is so important. If something like this happens to you, don't be afraid to stop, hang up, and call someone. I'm here today after setting aside my pride and embarrassment in hopes I can help at least one person or couple avoid the trauma my wife and I experienced. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. You certainly have helped many that are watching today. Thank you for your courage and your humility in coming forward. And thank you to the Sheriff's Department and to our team at the DA's office for recovering at least half the money. We wish it didn't happen in the first place. Everyone has a story or knows someone who's been scammed. Let us bring this into the conversation so there isn't any shame around it. Let's talk about it. Let's make sure that we discuss the fact that scams often begin with a call, a text, a pop-up, but they are all scams. If you didn't initiate the particular contact, then it is a scam. All the scams, like someone is using your accounts, posing as your bank, your information is tied to a crime and there's an investigator that's calling you. You have to change your money into a wire, into gold bars, into cryptocurrency. All of these are scams. Your computer has been hacked and a buzzing noise that if you hang up, you're gonna lose everything off your computer. That's a scam. So it's very, very important to never believe someone telling you they have to move your money, you have to change the color of your money in order to keep it safe. Always verify independently, which means not calling the number they give you, even if it says it's Apple or Microsoft or the government, but rather hanging up and you yourself initiating a call to a trusted number that you know is there for your bank, for your doctor, for the IRS. Never use a number you're given. Stop that call before it starts by using tools to stop as much of these scams as possible, including caller ID. In short, stop, hang up, and tell someone. Are there any questions?
I just asked Chris, do you mind just talking about the moment when you realized something was off, obviously. What was kind of going through your mind when that happened?
It's kind of hard to describe. You just, in the back of your mind, you're thinking, why would this be, why would this be happening? In my case, the pop-up had a number you called, and a young lady was there, and she said, "Oh, I need to hand you over to a fraud investigator for Chase Bank." And then after talking to him, it became more believable, and like it's been said here, it was the urgency of don't hang up, with us. We need to get this straightened out for you. And it just became more and more believable because these people were just so well rehearsed. I still remember their names, you know, Monica and David. You know, they were faxing over identification to us, you know, fake badges and so forth. And it was a tough time for my wife and I. A year and a half later, it still hurts. But I don't know if I answered your question, but anyway.
How did losing that money affect you and your family?
Well, you know, my wife and I, at that moment, made a pact that we were not going to tell anyone about this, just because of the shame, the embarrassment. You know, I figured my father was probably rolling over in his grave, you know, thinking that how could my son be so gullible, you know, and so it. In our case, you know, we've heard about victims that, you know, that are out millions of dollars. So maybe $35,000 doesn't sound like that much in comparison, but you know, it was kind of like we justified it like, well, I guess we're going to have to wait to put that new roof on, you know, or trying to. I guess we're going to have, you know, that new heater and air conditioner is going to have to wait till we somehow, you know, get through this. And so, anyway, it was a tough time. But now, you know, a year and a half later, I thought I was kind of done. And then Scott contacted me and thought maybe I should come down and tell a little bit of my story. And I was happy, you know, to do it because, you know, like I said earlier, if me being here can help other people not be affected, that would be, you know, that'd be time well spent on my part. So.
Thank you so much.
Sir?
And I should say also that if someone is scammed, you should call your local law enforcement and also report to ic3.gov. If you're not sure what to do, you can also go on our website, sandiegoda.com, and you can see all the different messages and resources. But it's definitely important to report to your local law enforcement and ic3.gov. There was another question.
Yes, I have one for you, a follow-up, sir. Once you did come clean with your family, what was their reaction like?
Very supportive. In fact, just our son and daughter-in-law live here in town, and I did not want them to get this secondhand because they don't watch the local news. Maybe they're going to have, you know, it would be like, hey, are you related to Chris Heise? You know, kind of thing. Why do you ask? Well, I saw him on the news last night. So I told my son just the day before yesterday about this, and he texted me this morning when I was over in the parking garage, and he's just super supportive. Don't be sad, be mad was his advice, and we've still got other family members that still may out of town family members that are probably going to be finding out about all this in the next couple of days. So anyway.
Yes.
What are the most common use that you have seen about the AI in this kind of scams? Like it will be like the phone or with the social media. What are the most common?
Yeah, there's many, but maybe I'll have Scott. Do you want to talk about the AI use?
Yeah, in the most common scams, we actually are not seeing a lot of AI. We are afraid of what AI will bring to the scammer's toolbox, and so that's why it's so important to get the message out now, because we really feel as the losses and the amount of victims are increasing every year, that we're reaching a tipping point. And so there are AI scams where they can fake the voice of a grandchild. It's probably the one we're most concerned about. But as you heard from Mr. Heise, the most common scams impacting people are coming from a pop-up ad where they're not faking their voice, they're faking who they work for and who they represent.
Thank you.
I also, Roy, could you tell us, is there a part of San Diego County where people are falling
Yeah, no, thank you. And there's not. It's happening all over the entire county. It doesn't matter if you live in Alpine or Oceanside. We have victims all over, and that's what's so neat about our case management system is we can do geospatial products and identify where these trends are occurring, identify those suspects, and try to hold them accountable through that. But it's happening all over the entire county.
Other questions? Okay, well, great. If anybody wants one-on-one with the FBI or U.S. Attorney or anybody, just let us know. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Don't forget your gadgets, too.